Let's create this outfit Bella Hadid wore for Victoria's Secret. We'll do this in Claude 3D. I'll start with the bra. First, we'll use a 3D pen avatar to create the underwire using the pen going around the line of the bra as indicated on the avatar. Here, draw to the best of your ability, going around without worrying too much about the shape. You will see that we will be able to adjust it quite fine afterwards. Once you're done with the shape, don't forget to click the last point to create a closed path. Now select Flatten, click in the middle, and the pattern piece has been created. At this point, get the Smooth Curve function, and then you can click on 2 points, create a straight line, click on the line that you want to replace, and move the straight line to a curve. And there you go, you have replaced the old line. You can do the same for the top one. And this is the way you have a clean edge pattern piece. Now you can actually pin the piece to the avatar with a pin to avatar function. This way you will secure the small piece to the avatar and you will be able to create the new pieces as well. You can always add new pins. And then while selecting this piece, I will put the particle distance to 5. Okay, I think this looks pretty good here. Adjust the shape orientation and create a symmetric copy for the left side. Here, I have also selected a pattern and used the layer clone under for those 2 pieces. You will see what I'll do here later on. Now that I'm done with the underwire parts, I'm going to use a 3D pen avatar to create a shape for the cup. I'll go around the cup indicated by the avatar and create my shape, just like before. Don't worry or don't stress too much about the shape you create. You can always adjust it and perfect it and make it better with the Smooth Curve function. Okay, I think I'm almost done. And I'm going around and creating a closed shape. Now I select the Flatten function, click in the middle, and a new pattern piece has been created. Okay, I'm going to adjust them a little bit, and now I'm going to again use the Smooth Curve. Click on the 2 points, create a straight line, click on the line you want to replace, and click on the new line to bend it. Then click again. Now I'm going to do the same for the side one. And now let's adjust some of the points a little bit for better design. All right, I think this looks pretty good right now. I'll create a copy for the other side, a symmetric copy. And now I'm going to sew the bottom parts to the underwire. So you can choose the segment sewing and just sew the 2 parts. Now you can also use the pin box and secure some of the parts of the bra to make sure they stay in place and simulate. Now select the underwire part, and what I'll do here, I'll just use that to inflate. So what you do, you basically put the pressure at 70 for the top underwire, and then you put the pressure at -70 for the underwires, for the bottom ones. This way you will create this bubble effect for the bra and will avoid a deflated effect for better design visualization. This way your cups are basically full. I think I'm happy with this effect right now. Now I will be starting to use a 3D pen avatar again to create a shape around the body for the straps. So you can use the pen as desired, making sure you do connect with the underwire part created before. And then again, once you are done, close the path, use the flatten function, and click in the middle for a new pattern piece to be created. Again, as we did before, let's use the smooth curve function for each side to smooth the edges and make this pattern piece with curved lines and better design. I have one more for the bottom part. Okay, that's the final shape. You can always adjust individual points going on the editing tool. For example, I think I will adjust its point since it's a little too pointed and it will interfere with sewing or even simulation. And now we'll start sewing the center back part of the bra, the center back part, to make sure we connect these two parts. And then we will sew the segment sewing again. We'll use the segment sewing again. And then I'll connect the curvy part to the underwire, part of the underwire. Okay, I think this looks pretty good and connected. Now I will be creating this underbra crisscross design detail you see here. I will start creating a rectangle, make a copy of symmetric pattern with sewing, and then arrange them in a cross shape. The better you arrange them, the better for simulation. Then you can use segment sewing and just choose the desired areas based on the length of your rectangle where you want to sew it. You can put this piece on strengthen for a more controlled simulation, and of course adjust as you go and just make sure they overlap each other, but they're not too close to the bra that will mess up the simulation. Okay, now you can simulate and you can even make them a little smaller. As you can see, I did as well. And don't forget to remove the pins you had created previously for better simulation as well. As you can see, I did forget, but now I removed them. Now I will move on to create the straps of the bra. I will use the edit avatar or measure avatar function and kind of have a rough idea of how long my rectangle shape should be for the strap. So I think here I'll use about like 455 millimeters. I think that's a good length. And now I will use segment sewing again. Change the color to of the bra and then start sewing the straps to the bra. Again, the shape, the length might be a little too long, but we can always adjust it later. After we finish with sewing in the front and the back, you can maneuver the length to make sure it goes in the same direction as it's supposed to fall on the body. This will help with your simulation as well. Now let's sew in the back. You can mark a point as well where you want to start the sewing. This will help with narrowing down visually where it should be sewn to. Okay, I think this looks good. And instead of sewing, I'm just going to select the line and use the superimpose under. I think the superimpose under is better for both. And this will help with the simulation. Okay, my straps are a little bit too long, so I'll start making them a smaller, just a smaller and simulate, and maybe I'll even take out on the length again. As you can see, it's a work in progress, and as soon as you do it gradually, it will not mess your simulation. The straps, you can later on pin them to the avatar like we did at the beginning. Let's make sure the back is completely sewn. And I think the bra cups, I'm going to make them a little fuller, as you can see here, and just adjust some of the lines and the curves. and simulate at each step. I think this looks pretty good. And now I'll focus on the cups. I want to create a better curved shape design for these cups. How do we do this? I will create an internal line right here in the middle. Click on the line, right-click, cut. Now I can create a bigger gap between the lines. You can even create this rounded effect on the lines. There's really no rules here. You can adjust as you wish and even curve the lines and edit the position of these points like this. And you can just like tweak it, make the gap bigger or smaller as you wish, and you can just play with it and simulate multiple times. Once I'm happy with the lines, I will saw them. You can use the same segment sawing function we've been using and then simulate. At this point, it really depends on how detailed you want to create this and what is it for. I will make this tutorial quite detailed, but you can choose what parts you want to use from it. For the back, for example, I will add the hook and eye closure with the adjustable parts as just like a real bra has. So here, what I will do for the back, I will offset this line, cut, and then connect the small rectangles I have created. Shift-click on the opposite lines, and then click right to merge them. And you can also delete the unwanted points. For this new rectangle I have created, I will remove the fabric, and instead I will add the image I have for the extension as graphic. So click on the graphic function, upload the graphic, and adjust the size to fit the rectangle. You can also fit the orientation here. After, I will create an internal line on the right side and cut, right-click cut. The small strip, I can adjust it and make it bigger, for example, making sure it aligns with the extension piece on the left side when I apply sewing. I will add internal lines for the future sewing I will be performing. Sew and then simulate. This is adjustable as well. So I want to create this very realistic effect of the closure of the bra. You can add this close-up snapshot, as I mentioned before, to your portfolio to showcase your expertise on creating lingerie and bra details. Now I'll focus on the side bra. Let's set the internal lines. We can select the edges, offset as internal line. I think 8mm is a good size. I'll do the same for the top one as well. And for the bra. And then I'll just cut and sew for all the lines I have just created, for all the internal lines created. For the bra, I'll use layer clone over to create a copy. And here I'll select the bra, and from Connect Assets, I'll be choosing sheer fabric that I'll be using on top of the bra and also on the side as well. Now we can change the color and assign the new fabric. Moving to the side, the middle pattern, I will use a sheer fabric too. I think it looks pretty realistic right now. And to the brush, just select the edge, offset pattern outline, and then the default corner, and then a new extension will be created. Here, just offset as internal line and choose the initial line, and then cut and sew. And this new panel will be where we will apply the lace. You can adjust the points. You can just delete some of the points, and then with smooth curve, we can adjust the existing edges this way for the bottom one as well. And better off, I'll probably replace this curve for a more bended one. And I think this looks great. I'm going to create a new fabric and call it lace. I will be selecting the whole patterns I have created and then export it as PDF. I will import this into Illustrator. And then on freepik.com, I will be selecting looking for some lace. And then this lace you can just use to ungroup, take the desired lace to your PDF file uploaded. You can use the picker tool to recolor the lace, just like the bra. And then opening the panel for brushes, you can drag this lace to the brush panel, and you can create pattern brush. And this will help you create a brush and design any curve. For example, I'll just go right on the pattern outline of the lace and just add the brush. With this curve selected, I will be creating a new artboard. This is for the right side. I will be saving this and export this as an artwork, and then I'll do the same for the left side. So you just export them as PNG. Once you saved both of them on your desktop, you go back to your cloth file, remove the fabric, and add the lace as graphic or as texture actually. And then you just maneuver the size and also the orientation to get the desired look. Okay, now I'll do the same for the left side, remove the fabric and add as texture. Once I'm done, let's move to the next step, which is the straps and the hardware. On the strap, we will create an internal line for a small rectangle and then cut. Once that is done, let's focus on creating an extra strap, extra rectangle. Create the internal lines and cut. For these two rectangles created, let's sew them together, the tops and also the bottoms using segment sewing. And then for the small rectangle created, let's create an internal line that will use this as the bend line, as the fold line. I'm going to put everything on freeze. I'm going to freeze everything except this small rectangle. And then using this internal line created, I will use the fold tool and just fold and then just maneuver this piece around. And then I will just sew them together, the two pieces, and then sew them to the bra as well. Once I'm done with this part, I can actually unfreeze everything. And I'm going to add my first hardware piece, which is the ring. So go to hardware and trims, select the ring. You can recolor it, you can make it red, and you can play with the roughness and metalness to make it look more like metal texture. So once you import it, you just drag it to the dedicated area where the strap is. And this takes a little practice, but you just have to maneuver it around using the gizmo. So just change the color to red. And then just use roughness. Just play here with reflection, roughness, and metalness to get the desired look you want. Usually, if you put the metalness to closer to 100, it's a good outcome. Okay, so now it just really takes time to just place this ring as you want. So it has to go around the straps basically, and also through the little loop we created. So I would not stress too much about it. It really takes skills. The more you use this program, the better you get at using the navigation tools, and especially Gizmo. You just drag it and just move it around. And you can also put the pieces on strengthen and simulate. We are adding the slider next. As you can see, I have already added it to my workspace. And then it's exactly the same story. You just have to drag it and add it really close to your strap. The same, you use the gizmo. That's super, super useful right now. And position it parallel to the strap. And just really, really, really close to the side. Like this. Like we did before, we can change the color to red and also just the metalness to almost 100 and the roughness maybe to a lower amount, like around 7. And I think the most useful tool here will be the box tool that I found so far. This is the one that you can literally just use to hold some parts of the fabric in place and then move others through the loops of this slider. So get a pin, box, select the desired parts you want to move, and then just literally drag those fabric parts through the loops. Of course, since the fabric is so small here, and also this hardware is also so small, it will take a while. So just take your time to make sure you don't basically break the fabric. So you just move the fabric with the pin selected and just simulate multiple times until you get to the desired effect. And then once you're done with the left side, you will move to the right side and just continue with the exact same process. All right, so this is the final bra, and now we will focus on the underwear. For better design of the pattern, I will go to avatar joints from avatar display and or work on spreading the legs a bit. This way I'll have more room on creating the underwear and the crotch area. Once I'm done with arranging the avatar part, I'm going to use a 3D pen avatar again and start designing the underwear. At this point, I'm going to speed up some of the steps because you know them by now. I'm using the 3D pen avatar going around the design area I would like to create. Then I'll create a closed shape. And then I'll move on to use the tools from the edited tools like edit points and smooth curve to create better curves and a better design for this part as well. You can tweak the points and lines using the smooth curve, as I mentioned, and just you have to take your time here thinking about how the underwear should look like in comparison to the image I have. So once I'm done, I will create a symmetric copy with sewing to visualize it on the avatar as well. And then when I have perfected the patterns, I can click on the edges, click right, and merge. Now I'm going to move on to creating the straps of the underwear, connecting the front with the back. Once these overall basic straps are created, I can look on the underwear and see if I want to change anything, or I can just move on to the next step, which is adding the lace, as you can see in this image here. You can click on the new patterns and just save them as PDF. Then I will add this to Illustrator just as before that. So you open your Illustrator and file open your PDF file. On these parts that I have just created, I will basically use the pen tool and just create a new line. So we can create the brush, add the brush with the lace as well. Once I'm done with the front and the back, I will save these and then I will import them into Chrome. So I can add these as new fabrics and then just play with them as graphic and just maneuver the direction, adjust the size to your liking for both front and the back one. Now we're going to move to the exciting part, which is adding this design detail, the ring, and also the loops that hold the ring in place. This is on both sides of the underwear. So first we will need to focus on creating the closure loops. And this will take some time. So to create the small pattern pieces, the internal lines, and the actual closure. Take your time here. I had to speed up the process to make this tutorial smaller. For your reference, it took me about 20 minutes or so just to create this design part with the loops and adding the small ring. Once the loops are created, I will add, or the loop base, I will add a ring I added from hardware and trims, and I will maneuver it to fit in the loop created. Once you have it set up, you can put your fabrics on strengthen or even freeze them if you like for better simulation. Again, this really depends on how realistic you want to create the details and what is it for. If is it for your portfolio and it's for a job that requires a lot of knowledge considering the details, then this is the part that you have to focus the most. This is the overall look of the style. I have added pattern lace for the bra here instead of the sheer one to match the Bella Hadid one for Victoria's Secret. And this is it. And we will move on to the blender details.